Bridle Gossip was the episode I most looked forward to when I started watching the series, since the first clip of MLP I saw was from this episode. On my first run-through of the series, however, I accidentally skipped this episode, and didn't watch it until after I had finished Season 2. When I first saw it, I really enjoyed this episode because we got to meet a new character, and it was full of humor. Watching it again, how does it hold up? Well, let's go over the plot. The episode starts off with Twilight walking into an empty Ponyville. Pinkie pulls her into Sugar Cube Corner, where the rest of the main six are. The reason why no one is outside is because Zecora is in town. Everyone is scared of her because she's different, I guess. I wonder what the moral of this episode will be. The main six proceed to tell Twilight about Zecora's awful actions. She comes to town, waits a bit, and then leaves. Despite doing nothing at all, the townsfolk think she's some sort of evil enchantress, or something like that. Twilight tells the others that Zecora is a zebra, and her books say that she's from a far-off land. Wait, her books tell her that? You mean the books that are in Ponyville's library? The books that were there before Twilight showed up? Here's a question. Did no one use the library before Twilight came to Ponyville? Apparently, the answer to what Zecora is was in the library all along. All someone would have to do is just go there and look through their books. Really, did anyone read before Twilight showed up? Anyway, Zecora leaves with Applejack's younger sister, Applebloom, following her towards her home, which is in the Everfree Forest. The main six manage to find Applebloom before she can have a chat with Zecora, and Zecora warns them about the leaves of blue, which they completely ignore. Rainbow Dash even flies incredibly low to the ground just to, I assume, fly through the flowers. That's probably not safe, but I don't fly, so I wouldn't know. They all leave and go back home. The next day, it's revealed that Twilight's horn is, floppy. That's, pretty gross, actually. It turns out that all the main six got affected by something. I wonder what. Now, I may have been iffy on the plot up to now, but these curses are absolutely hilarious. They seem to bring out everyone's insecurities as well. Twilight can't use magic. Fluttershy probably isn't as comforting to her animals with her new voice. Rainbow Dash can't fly at all, even though this could be easily fixed by just walking on the ground. Rarity's hair looks like spaghetti. Pinkie Pie can't talk. And Applejack's small size probably doesn't make her feel in power anymore. Having the character's insecurity brought out like this is pretty neat. Feeling responsible for the main six getting cursed, Applebloom once again sets off to meet with Zecora. Applejack tags along without anyone noticing, despite her jumping onto Applebloom's tail. Wouldn't Applebloom feel her tail suddenly get heavier? Whatever, when the rest of the main six realize that AJ and her sister are missing, they set off for the forest. We cut immediately back to Applebloom, who finds out that Applejack has been with her all along. Appleblom responds to this by leaving her shrunken sister alone in a forest that's known to be dangerous. That's kind of mean. Thankfully, Rainbow Dash crashes into the tree that AJ was left on, giving AJ a ride to Zecora's place. Meanwhile, the rest of the main six managed to find Zecora's hut. Zecora seems to be making soup and speaking spooky incantations. Fun fact, the first clip of the show that I ever saw was Flutterguy singing the Evil Enchantress song. Eventually, they charge into the hut because Rainbow Dash and Applejack crash into it, and they think that Zecora is trying to cook up Applebloom. Twilight and Zecora are about to fight because Applebloom is missing when, surprise! Applebloom appears. It turns out that the zebra who never did anything bad to the ponies in Ponyville wasn't the one behind the curses to the main six. It was actually the plants they were standing on, called Poison Joke. What a surprise! Wait, how did Applebloom not get affected by the Poison Joke? We see her walking towards Zecora, cuts to a different shot, and when AJ picks her up, there's Poison Joke behind her. We saw the path as Applebloom crossed it, and there's nothing there. It's as if the Poison Joke just kinda came out of nowhere. Even when they're leaving, Applebloom isn't on AJ's back anymore. This makes no sense. Well, whatever. They all decide to stop hating on Zecora, and they have a bath to cure themselves of the Poison Joke's effects. Letter to Celestia, and done. Let me get one thing straight. This episode is hilarious. If only for the effects of Poison Joke on the main six. In fact, if I was judging this episode purely on its comedy, I'd probably rate this really high. But when I stopped to think about the plot when writing this review, this episode kind of falls apart. It seems to me that it hinges on the fact that no one knows what Zecora is, but the answers were in the books in Twilight's library this whole time. Even the Poison Joke cure was right in Twilight's face at one point. But since no one wants to read, not even Twilight, everyone is scared of Zecora. Now, one could point out the fact that Twilight didn't read the full title of the book when the Poison Joke cure was right in her face. To which I reply, Why not? Her stubbornness to say that it wasn't a curse led to more misinformation being spread. Maybe that's the point. After all, the episode is quick to remind us to never judge a book by its cover. Even with that, it still bugs me that no one had heard of zebras before, despite there being books on them in the library. I'm repeating myself at this point. What I'm trying to say is that this episode's plot has more than a few things that bug me. If you don't really care about that, then this episode's great. We get to meet a new character, we learn more about the Everfree Forest, and the comedy is top-notch. If you care a lot about the plot, expect an episode with a plot and lots of humor. That's all I have to say about Bridle gossip. Until next time, goodbye.